So, Paul, have you used a VR headset in the last year or so?
No.
So, as a communicator, you might find this to be so interesting. So,
Okay.
when you put on your VR headset and you're in a room, last week I had a book club, about 20 people there, and we're all in this space, and all you can see are avatars. So, you can't read faces.
Okay.
But what is different about VR than other things is if you choose the right platform, the sound changes based on, am I facing you? Am I to the side of you? Am I behind you? So you have all this added layers of dimension that sound can add into this experience. And one of the things that I realized about a quarter of the way into the book club, I would not have thought of this had you not brought this up, is one of the things that happens with your avatar is if you're in the VR headset, it responds to your movement. So if you start nodding your head, yes, like this, you watch other people get more confident about what they're doing because they can see, this person is there. They're acknowledging what I'm doing, and I can feel confident. Even though you can't see their face, you can see this this positive reaction, and it creates a loop of positivity.
Yeah, I did a training class, it was only an hour, a couple of weeks ago. And because of bandwidth, they couldn't turn on their videos. So I had like 30 people there. And in the beginning, I thought, wow, I'm not going to be able to connect with this audience. I can't use any gestures. I'm not going to know how they're doing. It wasn't long before I thought, this is really nice because I'm not distracted by all the distracting behavior that's out there. I can just relax and deliver the content.
Oh, not me, man. Not me. That is Black Mirror hell. So I moved from doing a ton of talks live, and then I did some of them on a bunch, then got moved to online. And the ones where I don't have a face, like I can see yours now, where I don't have any, it is like I'm looking at a mirror and I'm trying to talk to it. And for me, when I speak, I'm actually, for the most part, trying to get up on that edge of chaos where I don't exactly know if I'm right, and I may say something that pushes me over the line and I topple over, but that's why I want people there, because I want to see how are they reacting. So for me, this jujitsu that happens when I can see people's faces is brilliant, but when I get shut off from that, it's like locking me in jail or tying my arms up with a straitjacket or something.
Well, and I was thinking about doing in-room training versus online training. And I mean, the advantage is I can train people all over the world who could now travel to someplace. But the disadvantage is there's no way you get the level of connection that you do in the same room. And if I'm into a back and forth with somebody, if I'm in the room, I'm going to walk up to them within 6 feet. Because they can't be nasty to me within 6 feet. They can take me on from 40 feet, but they can't take me on from 6 feet because now we're physically connected. So yeah, there's the thing is though, is I'm really concerned by how much people make up based on how other people look. And I keep reminding people, you do not know what's going on for people. You don't know what happened in the last 8 hours. You don't know if they had to put their parents in a rest home this week. You don't know what they're facing coming up. Yeah, you can tell they're not themselves, but you don't know why they're not themselves.
So I run this network called the Articulate Ventures Network, and every other week we do this thing called the Circular Firing Squad, which is we choose some controversial topic. It doesn't matter what it is, and then we discuss it. And it's purposefully designed to be where people are going to have a difference of opinion. But one of the things that we added in right from the very beginning is before we start talking, we say, okay, what's going on with you today, right? And I always start off like, my wife was really frazzled on her way out the door today, and so I had to take more time with the baby, so I got behind, and I'm kind of frustrated. And you hear people going around, and it really does not matter what they say.
Yes.
It's just the fact that you've heard another person say, I have a life that's going on behind all of these things that I'm going to say, and you watch then when people get into a disagreement about the topic at hand, the circular firing squad topic, they're so much more gentle with the other person, understanding that there is a person behind the front of their argument. And I think that that's been a really shocking thing for me, because I've watched people disagree about really serious things, but be able to maintain a level of cordialness that you don't see in social media, because you just assume that the perfect life of the perfect photo that you're looking at is where this person is coming from, and not from the reality that everybody has chaos in their life.
I think there's something else in that situation you're talking about. It's the context for the conversation, where people know we're trying to push the envelope on each other's thinking. There's the wisdom of the group, which means something's going to emerge in this conversation that not any of us brought in. Some of us might change our views, but that's less important than new thinking actually occurs in the group. So the context is set that this is to create thinking. In many meetings where people get into it, that context is not set. You simply walk in thinking we're colleagues, and now this is not a place to think together. This is a place to have a discussion where I'm arguing for what I already thought. So that's another piece of conversation, which is what's the context for what we're about to discuss? But we can tie it to relationships, because what you're basically saying is let's get a sense of each other, or a sense of what's going on for each other. I like to say that the quality of the conversation that occurs in a meeting is dependent on the quality of the relationships that walks into the meeting. And the quality of those relationships is based on the quality of the conversations we've had together over our past. And then the other thing is about group size. If there's 5 of us in the room, it will be safe because we're close enough. You're not going to do other work, because I would just be, so I'd see it in a moment. We've got physical closeness, we've got intimacy, we've got enough time where we can catch up with each other. So if you think about a lot of the meetings, more 8 is the tipping point. If you have more than 8 people, you're at risk of that meeting not being a high quality. So then it is, what's the setup? What's the context, so that we're in the conversation as friends and colleagues? And now let's argue. I had a French engineer who said, you know, what's best about us is we argue like hell, and then we go have a beer. Well, one of the things we've lost, at least in my experience, we don't go have a beer afterwards anymore. People head home to their families. And sometimes, particularly when you've had a difficult conversation, you should go have a beer.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.